Hi everyone and welcome back to Macaroon. Lots of people liked my lockdown DIYs, so here's another video featuring weird craft hacks using everyday items. Believe it or not, you can make these plushies without using any craft supplies at all, and that also includes paint, glue, needle and thread. To make these, you'll simply need a face mask, some matches, clear nail polish, a tea bag, and a pair of socks. These are things you probably have at home already, which means you can make this project for almost nothing. So first off, we need to prepare the materials a bit. If someone told me a few years ago that I'd be making DIYs using surgical masks, then I would have thought they were completely crazy. However, these have turned into one of the most common things on the planet right now, and I realized they're surprisingly useful for DIYs as well. I'll be posting some more face mask hacks onto my TikTok account, so please follow me there under my username Macaroon. For obvious reasons, I strongly recommend using a brand new mask for this. Start by cutting off the 2 elastic bands close to the base. Then make a small cut on top and slide out the wire that helps the mask stay on your nose. Now moving on to the tea bag. This is actually a very useful place to get some thread if you only need a small section for a craft project. One side is usually stapled to the paper tag, so you just need to pull this off. The other side is tied into a loose knot, so untie this instead of cutting it, which gives you the maximum length of thread. The tea bag, of course, is still perfectly good to use. And lastly, we've got the matches. I always buy these long ones because I hate flames and I get really anxious at the thought of it being too close to my fingers. Simply light up a match, let it burn about halfway and then set it aside for later. I used 3 big matches, so if you only have smaller ones, then you'll need to burn a few more. As mentioned in the opening of this video, this part of course is not at all suitable for children, so please get adult supervision if needed. And now it's time to start crafting. I'm using fluffy socks because I just like the stretchiness of the fabric, but any type of long sock will work. Take one of the socks and start rolling it into a ball like this. Then stuff it into the toe of the other sock and squish it around a bit until you have a nice round shape. This part can also be done with cotton wool, stuffing, or even pantyhose if you want to have a smoother shape. Now take the string from the tea bag and tie the opening closed. Make at least 3 knots to secure it tightly and then trim off the ends. If your sock is a bit longer like mine, then push the extra fabric inwards until you get a nice bell shape like this. These plushies are inspired by the traditional Japanese weather doll called Teru Teru Bozu. These are usually made on rainy days using tissue paper and then hung up to bring sunshine. A typical Teru Teru Bozu is left blank like this, and you only draw the face in after the weather has improved. I'm making this again and you can see how quick and fun it is. You can easily use up a lot of mismatched socks this way. Instead of the tea bag string, you can also use one of the elastics from the face mask or dental floss to tie up the sock. Now place your burned matches onto a smooth surface and start crushing them into a powder. This part had some unexpectedly great ASMR, which for some bizarre reason reminds me a lot of needle felting. Try listening to this with your eyes closed and let me know down below if you agree. I've always wanted to try making my own paint because a lot of DIYs only need a small amount of black for the facial features. In case you don't have any acrylic paint at hand, this is a surprisingly cheap and easy alternative. Add a few drops of clear nail polish and start mixing everything into a paste. You can continue crushing the wood into smaller particles while doing this, and we're basically making a black pigment. Scoop up a tiny bit of paint and apply it to the plush. I found that this was surprisingly easy to work with, although you have to be careful not to add too much at once. You can even push the shape around with your finger, which isn't possible with acrylic paint. For the final optional step, I'm adding some cheeks using blusher. I've mentioned this method so often in previous videos that I don't consider this a new hack. Traditional Teru Teru Bozus have a hook on top so you can hang them up. If you want to add this, then grab the wire and one of the elastic bands from the face mask. Fold the wire in half to create a needle shape and then tie the elastic loosely inside the hook. Then cut 2 tiny holes on top of the head. Just a word of warning, sock fabric is incredibly stretchy, so you have to be very careful not to make these too wide. You should literally snip through 1 or 2 threads, and then use your finger or the mask wire to enlarge the opening. Now push the elastic through and tie it into a small loop. I noticed that face mask elastic is surprisingly secure if you pull the knot tightly. And lastly, just trim off the ends and rotate this to hide the knot. And now our no-sew and no craft supply plushies are done. This was a lot of fun to make and so cheap as well. The homemade black paint can also be used for other DIYs, such as adding facial features to clay or felt. If you want to see more craft hacks using everyday items, then I've linked all of my videos down below. I'm away on holiday for a week now, so if you want to see what I'm doing, then just follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm Joanna, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!